But we are supposed to be positive. And something I am very positive about, but I will let Comrade Axel talk to you about it, is map pool. Go ahead, Axel.
Yeah, you're way more positive about this than I am, but
Hooray!
there's some positive things for the map pool that we currently have. They're more even and they're better suited for the new game mode. There's no real one-sided maps. But honestly, we don't have enough right now to make the game succeed. They got rid of like a significant portion of the maps, and even some that a lot of people would have liked. I personally liked Marathon as a barbarian player, and so I mean I would like to see them bring those maps back, maybe rework them instead of just getting completely rid of them and we adding just more new maps. But maps we have now are fine, but I'd like to see the old ones come back or new versions of them. And yeah. Take it away, Mistru.
Yes, from my perspective, as a competitive player and a tournament organizer, a map pool is something that, is pretty close to my heart, let's say. So when I was organizing a tournament and deciding on a map pool, so okay, this semi-final, it's going to be best of 5. It means that it has to have for the first, it can have for the first 4 battles an asymmetric map, because you can get away with it, because in the end it will be fair, even if one side has clear advantage over the other. Like in my opinion, for example, one side is much better than the other on Marathon. So you can put Marathon as, as a map for battles 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 and get away with it, because after all, each team will get to play on the better side once, and each team will play on the worse side once, so it ends up being fair. But that also meant that whenever there was 3-0 or 3-1, and only in cases of 3-2, only in those cases you could finally play on a map that is symmetric, as maps should be. That meant that all the good maps were pushed back to the decisive matches, and all the bad maps, asymmetric maps, were actually being played in tournaments. So, you saw maps like, what was it? Marathon, maps like Hadrian's Wall, even Teutoburg Forest. Let's not start on that one. Terrible map. And yeah, you've seen those maps in tournaments in the forefront as, first maps of a match. And then all the good ones, like Gergovia, for example, one of my favorite maps, even though both cavalry and archers, which are my main units, are pretty much weaker compared to other maps, but I still love the design of that map. Just the fact that you have to go to the middle, fight for the middle instead of camping in your base, like in Teutoburg Forest, where camping is incentivized and pushing disincentivized. Gergovia, exactly the opposite. You have to fight for the middle. If you secure the middle, you secure an advantage for yourself. And then once you push the enemy further and further towards his base, you have a downhill all the time pretty much, and you keep that advantage, and the enemy doesn't have any or close to any advantages from retreating and camping. Great map design. Still some issues here and there, but overall, best map in the game, Gergovia. You heard it here. And those maps were pushed back. And what they did now is they decreased the map pool to 4 maps. It's, I imagine, most likely because of the new game mode, right? They need to figure out where to put the cap points and where to, put the healing points. And they have to do it in a fair way, right? Or at least they should do it in a fair way, and to be fair to them, they did. But that also meant that on maps like Marathon, you either put those in really bullshit places, very close to each other, or you have to rework the map. And hopefully they went with the rework the map as you mentioned. Axel. So that's something that Conqueror's Blade does way better than Arena. When they see that map is even like slightly unbalanced, like there were people complaining about Algolia map in Siege, that the attackers are, kind of fucked here and here, and defenders are fucked here and here. They're like, okay, Algolia out of the map rotation, we'll rework it and put it in the game only once it's reworked. Arena has never done something like that. And I definitely think they should be doing something like that, and I think they are doing it right now. So, when people were complaining about Turtle Book Forest in the past, Turtle Book Forest was still in the game until it was not fixed, but improved. But what they should have done is just remove Turtle Book Forest from the game, rework it offline, and then put it back once it's fixed, so that people don't keep getting thrown into that shitty map. So, yes, CA, hear it out from me. Please make the map symmetric. Like every single map, please be symmetric. Not exactly symmetric so it looks shit. I know what you're going with. It's like, Romans versus barbarians on each side of the wall. So cool. But then again, one side has a high wall, the other side has a lower wall, and one side is clearly better than the other. Therefore, it's asymmetric, and therefore it's a bad map design. So please fix that kind of stuff. You can still go with visual aesthetics. One map or one base can clearly look like a barbarian city or fort, and the other also, yeah, that fort was horrible. Yeah, holy shit. Just like in Germania. Please don't do that. But yeah, make one base look barbarian, make other base look Roman, buildings on each side, Roman or barbarian, as long as they have the same hitbox roughly, it will be fine. But don't do bullshit like Marathon with one side has the river, the other side has tall grass next to watchtower, while the other side is not next to watchtower. One watchtower gives big advantage, the other gives you fuck all. That's enough about the maps.